Okay, today we're going to talk about our last tab in the foldable, but we're going to split it up into 2 days, so save a little bit of room. We'll make it 2 days. And the last tab is labeled sectors and tangents, and this is Unit 15 on circles. Today we're just going to talk about sectors, and it's going to be real similar to arc length, but like I said, we'll stretch it out into 2 days. Today we'll do sectors, tomorrow we'll do tangents. Okay, this is the formula for area of a sector. Just so you know, a sector is a portion of the area of the circle, so it's actually talking about area. So it's shaded in on here, but a portion is the area of the circle. And so what we can do is we can really just find the total area of the circle. Okay, and area of a circle is pi r squared. That's how you find it. And all we're going to do is use the central angle to take a fraction of the area of the circle. It's real similar to how we did arc length. Okay, so this one says find the area of the shaded sector, shaded in blue. The red part on there is the degrees. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of the whole circle, and I'm just going to take a fraction of that area based on the central angle. So we know the area of a circle ends up being pi r squared. So in this case, our radius ends up being 14. So pi times 14 squared. I'm going to leave pi in my answer because a lot of them have you do that. So on your calculator, if you do 14 squared, you would get 196. Okay, so the area of the whole circle is 196 pi. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to take a fraction of that whole area, okay, by using our central angle. So our central angle is 135 degrees. So what I'm going to do is the area of the sector part is going to be 135 degrees. We know out of 360 degrees total, I'm going to go ahead and multiply that fraction, okay, of the whole circle times the area of the whole circle, okay, just like we did before. And again, I showed you in your calculator, it's probably best just to go ahead and multiply, okay, that fraction times 196 and leave pi in your answer. Okay, so I'm going to do that on our calculator here in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type in parentheses 135 divided by 360. And I'm going to multiply that times 196. Okay, 73.5. If it was a weird decimal, I would go ahead and convert it to a fraction. That's not, so I should be able to leave it like that. So my answer should be 73.5, and then I'll put pi next to it. Okay, so 73.5 pi. And again, if they wanted the decimal version, you can just type that in your calculator. 73.5, put the pi next to it. Let's see, 73.5, the pi. Okay, and that'd be around 230.91. 230.91, and again, all I did was simply type that in my calculator, and your units for this will be squared units if they ask you. Right, it's the same type of problem. I'm going to find the area of the shaded region, which in this case is in yellow. Okay, so we know the area of this whole circle. Okay, the area of the whole circle would be pi r squared. So I'm going to find that first. Your r in this case is 8, so pi times 8 squared, okay, which would be 64 pi. So I'm just going to take a fraction of 64 pi of the total area based on the central angle, okay, to find the area of the sector part. Okay, so our angle is 45 degrees. So 45 out of 360 degrees is the sector. So again, I'm just going to multiply that fraction times the area. And again, I'm going to do just the part, that does not have pi. I'm going to multiply that together on my calculator and write that answer next to pi. So I'll go ahead and type in 45 divided by 360. That's what fraction of the circle is my sector, and I'm going to multiply that by the area of the circle, which is 64 pi. Okay, but I won't have pi in it. So it's an easy number. I don't have to convert it to a fraction. It's just 8. So my answer should be 8 pi. So when I type that in, I end up getting 8 pi. And so if I want that as a decimal, I'm going to type it in, 25.13. So I just typed it in my calculator, but usually they ask for pi in their answer, but if they don't, you can simply just type it in to find out what it is. Okay, this will be our last problem today. We're going to work backwards a little bit. It says the angle of a sector in a given circle is 40 degrees and the area of the sector is equal to 20 centimeters squared. Calculate the radius of the circle. So let's talk about how we've been finding the area of the sector. So the area of the sector, that's what we've been doing, is equal to some fraction of the circle. So something out of 360 degrees, the central angle, times the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. Okay, that's what we've been doing. We've been taking a fraction of 360 degrees and multiplying it by the area of the circle. So we're going to work backwards. Okay, so they give you two numbers here. So the 20 is the area of the sector. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. Okay. And the 40 degrees is the central angle, which is the x here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right here. And I'm trying to find r. So r is the only thing we need to solve. Okay, so it should make sense. This part right here is just a number. Okay, that's just a number, so I'm going to divide that number on the other side. So it seems weird, but I'm going to divide that number on the other side. And you can put the pi on top with the 40, okay, to make it a little bit easier so I can do it all at once. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by that number to cancel it. Okay, and I'm going to do that on my calculator. Okay, so let's do that on our calculator. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 20 divided by, and then 40 pi over 360. And that's what I end up getting. Again, that's what's equal to r squared, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down for a minute. So r squared is equal to 57.296 roughly. So let's write r squared is equal to 57.296. And so if you want to get r by itself, it should make sense you just take the square root of that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of that and see what I get for r, and then I'll round it. And a nifty little trick I can use, since I still have that number on my calculator, I can hit the square root button, which is second in that, and I can use the answer from above by just pressing second and this little minus sign down here, or negative sign. Okay, and now take the square root of the answer from above, and I get 7.569. So I'll go ahead and round it to 7.57. Okay, 7.57. Okay, so 7.57. And if they're talking about units, it should just be centimeters. Okay, because it's not an area, it's just the length of the radius. So that would be my answer if I rounded it to the nearest hundredth.